Hi and welcome. This is Sue Jansen. I'm your host at Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. I'm so glad that you popped in and joined us today. And my podcast focuses on just supporting people and supporting parents, caregivers, and service providers of children and also of adults with adaptive needs. So I just try to aim at bridging barriers in every aspect of life. And we're going to be talking about resilience today, and I'm a resilience coach as well. So this kind of ties right in with my program. I'm excited to introduce to you my guest. Her name is Brenda Marie Sheldrake, and she's an award-winning entrepreneur and a best-selling author. And she empowers entrepreneurs through community, through coaching, and through courses. So she's had 13 years in community health, and she led anti-oppression training. Now you have to tell me more about that. Anti-oppression training and inclusivity initiatives. And that's kind of what I'm all about, being inclusive. So in 2022, she was the Woman of Worth honoree. And Brenda believes that, in quotes, relationship building creates lasting leads and clients. So we're building a relationships today with each other. So her mantra is don't quit, your dreams will materialize. And she's dedicated to fostering connections and entrepreneurial success. So welcome, Brenda. So nice to have you here. We kind of align. There's a few things there that we align together. So tell us a little bit more about you, because I didn't give all the whole story, just a little bit. And what's your biggest passion that you're working on right now?
Thank you so much, Susan. So, first of all, you are so right. There are so many places where we intersect and where we connect. The biggest one, when you mentioned that you are a resilience coach, I have a community that I offer to entrepreneurs, and it's all about helping them to build the resilience to face the challenges that they face on a daily basis. Because I'm not sure whether you know this or not, but every hour, one entrepreneur closes their doors for good.
Oh, is that just in Canada? Because I'm in Canada. Are you you're in the States, Brenda, right?
No, I'm in Canada. I'm in
Oh,
Canada as well.
where are you? Where are you? I never know where I'm.
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, Toronto. Okay, you're
Yep.
just east to me. No problem.
Yep.
Awesome. So
So
welcome.
what I really wanted when I heard that statistic, because being an entrepreneur afforded me freedom to be able to deal with some very challenging times in my life. And so it also motivated me to make sure that other entrepreneurs would have that freedom, whatever they were faced with. Because I looked at being an entrepreneur and I looked at women who were moms. And I said, if you have a job, how many moms have I known who have a job who missed their baby's first words, who missed their baby's first steps? And they were sad. I mean, they were sad forever because they missed those things.
Mm.
But if you're an entrepreneur, you are more likely to be at home when baby takes those first steps, or when you get the invitation to the first baseball game or the first school trip. When they're home with a sick with a fever, you can be there with them and you don't have to justify it to anybody.
Mm.
But in order to do that, you can't quit. So I said, how can I help entrepreneurs not to quit? And
Mhm.
what I realized was people do, and I'm sure you know this, Susan, since you're a resilience coach, people don't quit because they don't know how to do their social media. They don't quit because they don't know how to do their accounting. When people give up, it's because of what they tell themselves it means about who they are as a person because they don't know how to do something.
Mhm.
So if we can build up their resilience enough, then instead of seeming like Mount Everest, it's going to seem like a speed bump when those things come along.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah,
And
pretty.
that's what I do in my community.
Oh, good for you. So are you a coach then? What's you're a coach, and I'm sorry, you tell me what else you do.
So the way that I do it, I'm an expert in one thing. I'm an expert in lead generation through relationship building. So I knew that if I wanted to provide these supports to my clients, that I had to connect with other people. So being an expert in relationship building, that's exactly what I started to do. I set out to do. I got on LinkedIn and I started looking for people who were experts in other things that I believed would help those entrepreneurs stay in business.
Okay.
I looked for the mindset coaches. I looked for the resilience coaches. I looked for the people who knew how to do LinkedIn. I looked for the people who knew how to do TikTok because it was brand new and we wanted to be there, but we didn't know how. I looked for all those things. And then I connected with those people. I formed relationships with those people. And then I asked them, and I'm going to be coming back to you after this podcast, Susan, because then I asked them, would you come and teach a master class for my community on the thing that you're most passionate about, on the thing that you're an expert in?
Hmm. Yeah.
And what we did is we just kept helping our entrepreneurs get stronger and stronger, build better and better relationships. And then I took it a step further because I said to my experts, since this is about relationship building, I'm going to give you a free membership in my community for at least 6 months because when you come and speak, they're going to want to get to know you better before they want to buy from you.
Mhm.
And so that's how we're going to help you with your buying journey as well. We want to make this a win for everyone. So
Mm,
that's what I built in my community.
good for you. That's awesome. And do you do any speaking yourself? You do. So, and
I do.
what is your topic? Just how to build those relationships, or what is your talking title?
So I talk about how to use LinkedIn for relationship building. I also talk about how to generate, well, one of my talks is called How to Generate Leads Like a Rock Star Without the Rock Star Budget.
Or
Because
I
I
thought you were going to say without the drummer.
think
I'm sorry.
no,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have that big budget when they first start out and they want to generate leads and the budget is one of the things that get in their way.
Yeah.
But I also, on the other side of my business, because as you mentioned, I was 13 years in a community health center, and that's where I developed my anti-oppression and diversity side
Okay.
of my business.
Tell me that. What is that?
So, yes. So, what happened, I worked in a community health center, and one of the things that I was passionate about was that you don't make a place inclusive by putting signs on the door or by just saying everybody's welcome. You have to create cultural change, and you can't mandate cultural change.
Mm,
One of the keys to creating cultural change is to have those really difficult conversations about what do you actually think of when you hear a certain word, or what do you think of when you see a certain person, or what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel unsafe. And we need to have those conversations on all different sides.
mm,
And one of the things that we really worked very hard to do was to take the idea, because one of the things that holds oppression in place, one of the glues that holds oppression in place, is a competition for whose oppression is the worst.
mm,
Was 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 everything that has happened to the Jews throughout time and continues to happen to them today, is that the worst? Is it the worst to be a young black girl and be followed through the drugstore? Is it the worst to be profiled when you're driving your car? Is it the worst to be a man today? Is it the worst to be a senior citizen? And as long as we compete to prove who's got it the worst, who's suffered the most, as long as we keep those competitions going, the oppressions stay in place.
That's the anti-oppression that you're talking about.
So
Okay.
what we do is we come to an understanding that number one, all of these things were horrible.
Mhm.
All of these things continue to be horrible experiences. We don't negate or not validate anybody's experience, but we say they're all horrible. How can we all work together to make a difference, to change some of these things? And
Mhm.
one of the first things that I had to admit, because I was the chair of the committee for a while, and I don't know if you can see me, but I know that you can see me right now, Susan, but I don't know if you look on my LinkedIn, it's going to be very clear to you that I am a middle-aged white woman. So one of the things that I had to admit was that I don't know your experience.
Mhm.
Even if you are, even if we're both middle-aged, if you are a middle-aged Black woman, I don't know your experience and I don't know the things that have made you who you are today.
Mhm.
So we come to understandings about things like, is it okay for me to ask you what something was like when I'm trying to understand it? And that's the kind of difficult conversations that we have.
I hope the answer is yes. I
The
hope.
um, the the
Yeah.
answer is oftentimes yes, but sometimes if you've been through something that's particularly traumatic and painful, sometimes as the listener, I have to get past the point that there may initially be some resentment and anger. Why are you asking? Why would you care?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you even want to be part of this? Or an anger that I would ever believe that I could understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a phrase that I found particularly helpful that someone else shared with me
Yeah.
is, I can never fully understand what your experience was because I didn't walk in your shoes. But if you help me, I can begin to understand.
Little compassion helps, goes a long way.
Yes,
Acceptance, and that's the inclusion, actually. That's the acceptance to say, I want to hear you matter and I really want to know and I want to hear it
yes.
from you, so that I get it right. Yeah.
Now, another group that you serve that I'm also very passionate about are parents of children with disabilities.
Ah,
Because while I worked in the health center, and even after I left from the health center and started on the beginnings of my business career, business beginnings of my entrepreneur journey, we're both in Canada, so I can talk about this because I hope that a lot of your listeners are in Canada.
yeah.
I discovered a product
Yeah.
that the government made available for adults and children with disabilities, but that it's not very widely promoted. The product is called the Registered Disability Savings
Yeah.
Plan.
Yeah.
And I've found so many families that don't know that this product exists,
Yeah.
don't know how to get it, don't know the steps to take. And even worse, if you're not careful, if you just Google this, if you do a Google search for Registered Disability Savings Plan, if you do, the prerequisite is to have your disability tax credit. If you do a Google search for disability tax credit, the first sites that come up are fee for service sites that can take. So this is really important to me. I don't make any money off of this at all. I don't make one penny off of what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
But it is very, very important to me that if you're a parent of a child, if you're an adult who's under the age of 50 who has a disability, that you know that those fee for service sites are going to take part of the money that you are entitled to,
Yeah.
sometimes up to 50% of it.
Yeah. That's really
So
significant.
vet your services.
Yeah, exactly. And just be aware. And that's why you saying that is huge, because it's just making people aware that this is out there for you. And I happen to know about that. So, and our whole family does. So yeah. But the people that I kind of affiliate with, they do or also know about it. But it's not like it's advertised. And it's the same with my daughter, because her daughter, my granddaughter, when she was 8 weeks old, had near SIDS. So she was she can't. My daughter went to do dishes, came back, she was blue in the crib. And the thank God though, she ran next door. There's a nurse that lived next door, and also she phoned 911, and she phoned me. And then by the time I got there, about 10 minutes later, she had been revived. Like, so the ambulance was already there. The nurse actually got her resuscitated a bit, but the problem was that she had occipital brain damage and parietal brain damage. So she has cerebral palsy and cortical vision impairment. So she sees, her eyes are fine, but there's no connection to the brain. So she sees light and color, and she knows the difference. If I show her different colors, she'll come up to me and pull my sleeve and look really close and say, "That's." I said, "What color is it, Clay?" And she goes, "Red." Like, she'll know. Isn't that interesting? She knows colors, but yet if I have to sneak up on her, and then she'll go, "Oh, grandma," she hears me coming, but she doesn't see me. But anyway, she's 12 and thriving now. But that's what happened. So my point of bringing all that up is that we were aware that, like, there's so many programs that my daughter had to really dig to find out. It wasn't like it was just, this is what you do, and this is who you talk to. It was like you had to ask questions and keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. So that's kind of, I feel bad for the parents about that. I feel bad that they have to, try so hard to get the information that's out there, readily out there. But thank you for sharing your warning, because that's really important. Yeah.
And they continue to come out with new programs as well. There's some newer initiatives that they are starting to come out with. So one of my big goals is that I always talk to my clients about what new things they've heard about. So I try and stay on top of the newest things, the newest initiatives. If any of your listeners hear about anything new that has come out that is helpful
Yeah.
to adults or children with disabilities, I'm always looking for more information and more resources.
Cool.
And the best way to connect with me, if it's okay if I just put this
Please.
out,
No, that's my last question for you. That's a good, please. Yeah, take it
so
away.
the best way to connect with me, I'm Brenda Marie Sheldrake on LinkedIn. And if you reach out to me and tell me that you heard me on Susan's podcast and that you'd like to connect, I would love to book a one-to-one with you just to hear what your journey's been like or what you have as far as resources or tips that you could share with me so that I can add them to my library. And if you're looking for help with something or guidance,
Mm.
then feel free to reach out to me and I will point you in the direction of someone who can help you if I don't have the information.
Oh, that's perfect, Brenda. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here and enlightening us. I really appreciate you. And I love collaborating with people, and especially, across Canada too, because that's important. We need to always stay together here. So thank you everybody for joining us here today on Living and Loving Each Day. I'm so pleased that you tuned in, and I hope that you got inspired just a little bit. I'm sure you did. Brenda has a wealth of information. And in the show notes, look for the show notes, the description, because I'll have her webpage and the information that you can do to get in touch with her. So it'll be there for you. So once I publish this, it'll be out, probably in March. So again, Brenda, thank you so much for being a beautiful guest. I appreciate you. And everybody, thank you for joining in. And make sure you come to suejansen.ca and we'll continue the conversation, or let's chat about anything else that's on your mind. So I'm here to help you with that as well. So thank you, everybody. Nice to see you. Bye.